Viper again, it has to be Viper, right? Having a break mechanic and a ton of magical damage during Winter Wyvern's heal, also forcing people out of to like not move. This Viper did cause a lot of issues.
It's so hard to draft your carry into Viper, it feels like. And that's what OG seem to like to do when they have the first pick. It's like, okay, we don't get the counter pick, so we're just going to pick the strongest possible offlaner for a Mar to have a good lane.
Mm-hmm. Something you brought up just before as well, Lucas, before we saw the draft, was that Entity had that more versatility when they did have Pure. Is it easier to ban against Entity knowing that they're essentially playing quote-unquote two off lanes, or it's still quite difficult to predict what's going to happen?
They didn't even ban out most of the offlaners played from the safe lane. They left things pretty open, I would say. In the first game was Beastmaster, Brewmaster, and Enigma. So I assume that they want to get rid of Enigma one more time if OG does not want to play it. Mm-hmm. And might be a bit too difficult. Into Wyvern, into Visage, just doesn't feel like a good Enigma game, so most likely they're going to ban it out.
Yeah. Well, OG, with that Alk, even though Viper was in the pool, they go for Alk here as their last pick.
It's a flex pick for OG, because Seb did play it before, and also they could play it on the mid lane, they could play it on the safe lane, so keeping things open. I don't think this strikes me as a Mar hero. He definitely loves to play different ones, but yeah, but still very flexible.
It's probably going to go to support, though. Just given how Seb's been, while they can flex it, I know that like Arme has said he likes the hero more when the enemy doesn't have like as much potential to invade his jungle, because then he knows he can farm fast and hit his timings right. With Entity, the way they've been playing, like especially in game 1, they are quite good at trying to just take that map space over. So maybe Outcore would suffer here.
Visage is a really good hero because he gets that level 6 fast, and then that means that he can be very aggressive. Usually, we're speaking of like 8, 10, 15, 12 minutes into the game, you don't have what it takes to kill Visage Bird's Wyvern a bit more slowish, so he doesn't put too much pressure on the Alchemist, but if you combine Visage with another potentially position 4 that can move around, even though it's Entity, so most likely Wyvern's going to be played as 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to highlight as well last game when Kataomi was playing his Wyvern. This is like the mark of someone who really loves like a hero and feels comfortable on it. He was going Shadowblade.
Right band.
Yeah.
You know he's a hammer.
Yeah, he's like so off the like standard item build, and it was kind of necessary too when you're playing versus Puck. I think BZM, like he is such a god on the mid lane, but with this Puck, he's fantastic at catching the backlines. When OG was kind of sieging the base of it, like Puck's just in the tree line hunting down the Wyvern and making his life misery. So yeah, like when you're itemizing like that, he really is just being creative with ways to try and not die.
With OG's band, it is the Doom and the Bristleback. Do you feel like they're trying to capitalize on what they've seen come out of Saberlight, or are these just ones that they don't want to have to come up against again?
I think it's more the latter. Like, ND have shown that some of their best strats have been around these two heroes, particularly the Bristle. That's what ND, of course, won with going back to game 1. But even though they destroyed Saberlight's Doom the previous game, this time around, Entity, you know, if they're going to pick Doom again, they're going to learn from their mistakes in game 2 and set it up to have a better game.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good ban from OG. Dead Prophet can be played from the safe lane, which Saberlight did play it, and it's one of the heroes that doesn't fall off quickly, as you think about the hero as an offlaner concept, where it scales extremely well, gives you even more momentum, roche taking potential, so definitely would be a great fit.
I just want to see an answer on Entity's side now coming for the Puck. Because while you can set up on like a Wyvern ult, again, this Puck's probably just going to get a Linken's again. Your Visage keeps going this like Wraith Pack type build and not like an Orchid to try and deal with him. So what do they want? And I saw.
That's exactly what I was. I was going to suggest Nightstalker onto you.
Sorry, I took way too long.
Wow.
Oh, you're good. You're
Let's
good.
just pretend he's a god. Gods, you're so good at predicting heroes.
I mean, that's a hero. Like you, itemizing against Nightstalker is hard. Force Staff is like you don't want to get them on Puck, but your teammates can, of course. But
yeah,
like you don't go BKB, you can't really deal with the Nightstalker. And this is a flex between offlane as well as safe lane, although I think more likely this is going to be Saberlight's safe lane hero.
Yeah, like Kost brought it up earlier, right? This hero is insane, and he's so good as well because when you get the shard, you're able to sustain in fights really nicely without having to rely on like Wyvern to stick in it.
Entity is making changes in the game number 3, picking up something for Saberlight potentially, like looking like his hero here to have a bit more control against this Puck. Vision game is pretty nuts. This is Visage Bird, Nightstalker, and Wyvern as well. All of them are flying.
Yeah.
With the Aghanims.
Is Luna viable? Visage Luna.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is. Lots of teams are playing Luna.
Yeah, it's like teams have stopped running that strat since like LGD showed how busted it was in the past, and I'm just like,
You can have budget Luna plus Visage. Just
Marcy?
Picking up Marcy, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I really like that, the Visage Marcy. Oh, we got an Amar Slaughter out here. My man buys his Mask of Madness, BKB, never gets his blink.
Yeah, that Slaughter and that Ench. Last time we saw OG on that Slaughter, it was a dominant performance. Like, it was insanely amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna help a lot with the keeping vision of Night Stalker as well, so he isn't able to just like juke.
I'd be down to see some switcheroo from Entity. I know a lot of people don't like it. Nature's Prophet on the safe lane to be able to deal with Slardar, and also one of the heroes that can build into early Orchid and put this Night Stalker on the off lane, because Slardar does make his lane very difficult.
Mm-hmm. Where would you put the Visage?
Can be mid Visage. Stormstormer definitely played it during the DPC tour a couple of times and looked really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I also wouldn't mind seeing like a Clockwork for Fishman. It's so hard for Slardar and Ent to kind of deal with him in a fight. They don't have like natural mobility. If you can disrupt that, it gives your other heroes more space in a fight.
Wow.
Wow.
What a great prediction.
Wow. God,
wow.
you need to get better at this, honestly.
Yeah, she got in there with enough time to spare.
Yeah. Like, honestly, the clock disrupts everyone except Puck on this team.
Mm-hmm.
And you have heroes to deal with the Puck. Like, I think you can just bring your heroes to any rune spawn and you'll be able to find Puck and like kill her with the Night Stalker Fear.
I do feel like that safe lane can still be very volatile. Like, even with Clock, Ench Slaughter, that packs a punch there. I imagine this is going to be Tiger Ench playing in the 4 role with Seb playing that 5 position Alkin. Like, that Clockwork you have to play that so perfectly.
What are we thinking that either team might be missing in their lineups? Do you feel that they have the ability to take those objectives? The laning phase is looking a little bit weak for either side.
Usually when I see Puck, I want to see like a lot of AoE damage to dump on top of it, which they kind of lack so far. They do have like good damage spread, magic on Puck, like physical Slardar, pure from Ench, so they're kind of okay like with dealing with Wyvern heal. Entity, maybe they could do with some more magic nuke themselves.
Mm-hmm. Where do we feel this Ench is going?
4.
On the 4?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, looking at the Entities heroes, I feel like they're gonna have Fishman playing Clockwork with Visage potentially on the off lane and Night Stalker safe lane plus Wyvern, because playing 2 melee heroes into Slaughter and Enchantress might be a bit too difficult, so they will need to make a switch.
Yeah, I think as far as the two teams, there's a lot more flex potential with any, because even the Wyvern could theoretically be mid lane, for example.
Yep.
They don't have their mid laner yet. There's nothing that's been proven to be great against the Puck, so if they could just be a mid Wyvern.
Yep. I mean, they're also going to have overall last pick, so that bodes well for them. OG having the pick coming out of this banning phase while we're waiting for it to finish, anything that strikes as good synergy for them.
For who? Sorry, OG?
OG, yeah.
I would like to see physical carry that really takes advantage of the amp. PA is kind of out of the meta, so I don't think we'll see her. Obviously, it's not always great to pick a physical carry into the Wyvern, but you're going to be able to just like contest this. Oh, you really want to do Roche? Sorry. So a hero that can just like kind of take advantage of that would be good. I think both teams will want to be fighting around the pit a lot because Entity are also just still running this Visage that wants to do it. It's much harder for them actually on Entity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think they want to go too greedy. They can sort of do the Alk safe lane, but I think carries like Jug also look appealing.
Yeah.
Just early fighting, benefits from Corrosive Haze, Roche Taker. Ursa maybe still in the pool too, so there's options for OG. I think they're less focused on making sure they win that safe lane and more about like having the right hero for the game and for their strategy itself.
Radiant team pick.
Oh.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's not a physical damage carry. That's a Phoenix.
Carry out. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Different direction.
So this is gonna make Night Stalker's life miserable. It's almost unplayable. You're like flying, but you're not moving. You don't get benefit from your Darkness in the Night, Hunter in the Night, and they don't have egg hitters. Like maybe if Visage gets some attack speed from the Grave Chill, a Night Stalker. It's daytime. Like and also look at the heroes. They have very good heroes at protecting, especially Slaughter with his AoE stun to protect the egg.
I mean, you're playing. You need a mid, right, on Entity?
Could be anything.
Like Lena's still in the pool. She's a great egg hitter. She rushes a BKB. She'll be able to deal with the egg. We'll be able to not care about coil after like 15 minutes. I think the only problem is she's really susceptible to like the anti-armor from Slardar. So if Alk is like ramping up, gets his blink, she could die.
Either that or Stormstormer Invoker could be a thing.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, it's going to be a TA for that last pick for Entity. Stormstormer is going to be playing hers. How are you liking the looks of Entity now?
TA and the puck is solid, but there's a lot of things that give TA a rough time. I think particularly the Phoenix, the damage over time there. It gives them an okay-ish egg hitter. I think the TA, with the Talon, the Dragon Lance, you get a decent enough attack range. But I think mostly it gives them also a way to kind of control tempo, control Roshan. They're playing on that Radiant side. You need to have Roche takers when you're on Radiant.
Yeah, if they can utilize the trap vision and stuff, and Night Stalker to just even find Tiger in a fight and kill him first, like it's so much easier for Entity to play.
When it comes down to now we have the carry Alk, the carry Night Stalker, who do you think is going to struggle for these matchups into the later part of this game?
I mean, Alchemist is just a better late gamer, and if it gets to that point, looking at how good Entity is, every single hero on their side does have something that provides vision. So might be a bit too difficult for OG to take a fight, because you will be taking fights on Entity's terms.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing them jump into this. It is game number 3, OG Entity. Let's head over to Sunspan and Jenkins.
Thank you very much. As they said, game number 3 between OG and Entity. The winner of this gets the absolute pleasure of playing against PSG LGD, who have yet to, I guess they did lose one singular game.
That was to Sonics,
this
I do
entire
recall
tournament
that.
to the dominant force, as you said, which is Sonics, who are no longer in this tournament.
Salt in the wound.
Yeah, something like that. But let's talk about this game number 3. We have, again, interesting drafts. This Night Stalker was picked relatively early, so we just assumed it was going to be position 1 from Saberlight side, and it is. But with that last pick, Phoenix, a little bit of a little difference maker here potentially for OG. It's Yuragi playing the Alchemist. We saw the position 5 from Seb not too long ago. It looked honestly kind of pathetic, but...
A bit pathetic. A lot of 5s
The fact that you're able to flex it in some capacity, which they did.
It's a big deal.
That's a nice job here from OG.
Yeah. But looking at these drafts, I think Phoenix is a hero that, honestly, I expected to see a lot more Phoenix into Night Stalker in the previous DPC tour and also this tournament. It's like one of the hardest counters in the game, if not the hardest. It is so annoying. Even if it's on your team, it counters it. Because it turns it to day, and you're just slowly running around. You're quite pathetic on Night Stalker. And obviously, anytime you are using Dark Ascension, Phoenix is going to probably want to use the egg as well, because that means a fight is happening.
Okay, now the real question, as this is a very stupid one, so we're going to have to hold off because there might actually be something important here. The fight for the rune with Stormstormer Company looks like Entity will win it out with OG just backing away. What gets priority? I know that this hero's not in the game, so don't go off on that.
All right.
Luna ult or Supernova?
I think Supernova takes priority over everything.
Over everything?
I think so.
Okay.
But I have been
I was going to say, that would have been a hilarious counter to the counter.
No way. No way. That'd be sick, actually.
I know.
I think it would even be cool if they tried it and it just pathetically failed. I would still be impressed. I'd still be impressed that
the fact that this mechanic exists, I think, is really cool, and I hope that they do this with like more heroes in the future. As Amar has the early crush, accompanied by Seb with the Nature's Attendants. He's gonna. Oh, so that's a big damage soul assumption to Amar. Definitely has to be a bit careful.
And Toby, naturally, he is rushing a crap load of mangoes.
Yep, typical.
So he wants to keep putting out this harass. I think with Clockwork, this is like particularly feisty. This is a nice combo. Like Clock does so much little magical damage running at people, and also like he gets hit as well. Like look at him getting hit. So Toby's gonna constantly have stacks of Soul Assumption down in the bot lane.
So it might be a bit of a rough lane for OG, but we'll see. The top lane on the other side, I mean, would you consider this a good Alchemist game as a position 1?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, there's some tower push in the Visage, but I feel like Night Stalker, like generally any lane against Night Stalker is kind of a free lane. He's basically useless until 5 minutes because that's when the nighttime is. And so, yeah, Alk is fine here. I think Alk does very well against TA if they're both allowed to have a free game. You get Radiance, you have Acid Spray. It's multiple ways of taking off the refraction charges. I don't think this is a free TA game by any means, but they do have the minus armor draft. They've got good vision for her. So I see why they picked it, but it's not like 1-to-1, like, oh man, they picked TA into Alk. That's so crazy, you know? It's not like that.
No. And from a Mars perspective, the first thing I think of with Slardar and him is this Mask of Madness. Does he do this every single game?
From what I've seen, he does,
Okay,
and I would
looking forward to it.
Yeah, I would expect nothing less. I mean, it's like a farming item on Slardar because of the extra damage that you get to creeps with your bash. I think it's super reasonable, and Mask of Madness too. It puts you to this threshold where like against most heroes, you can just man up on them and like almost perma bash them. It's especially good now that you get those little puddles whenever you ult somebody, because if you Mask of Madness and you've got the puddle speed as well, you are able to just stick on top of somebody. It's insane.
And you get the extra regen if you get the Aghanim Scepter, which he probably will not get because he's more right-click. As Taiga does take heavy damage in this top lane, but dives away. Very good skill in that dive, of course. Icarus dive. For those out there not...
that is an S-tier skill.
A tier 1
sure.
skill to get
Tier
away.
1 skill, yeah.
But...
S for Icarus.
Okay, not sure where you're going with that one.
That's it.
But looking at the two lineups, do you have a preference?
I like OGs. I feel like this is a pretty free Alchemist game. And as Synderin said...
Oh, who?
Synderin?
Okay.
What was it that he
I've
said
heard
about Alchemist?
It's an Alchemist game.
No, that's not what he said.
Yeah, it is.
No, he said Alk is very good against Templar Assassin in a 1-to-1 matchup.
Oh, okay. Didn't I tune him out a lot, so apologies.
Yeah, that's all right.
I don't tune you out, though, because you're a very good caster.
Appreciate that.
Very good. You need all the help you can get.
Yep.
But Stormstormer in the mid lane, as you talked about, the TA versus Puck matchup, something we've seen a lot of. Maybe not as much recently, because I think there's been a lot of position 1 TAs these days. Is gonna get ganked by Seb, but the Centaur not in range to get the old stomp off. And looking for this water rune. He's going to take an illusory orb, though, and BZM just blocking him off. So nicely done, as he could probably get the other one as well with the cover from Seb.
Nice mid rotation. Very nice mid rotation. Just like given how the lane was going, that feels really bad to be Stormstormer. Like he's having to walk all the way back to Fountain now with no boots.
Oh, CD. Okay. All chatting that.
So
Just don't hit that shift key. Little fat finger there from Fishman.
So they do communicate using in-game text.
That is
apparently.
weird.
That is interesting.
Oh, Seb setting up a little bit of damage onto Fishman. Wants to get some use out of this Centaur, as he will have a heart attack soon enough. Top lane, though, the chase is on to Taiga, who gets through the little avenue in the trees. Concoction from Yoragi. Kind of puts that to an end as well. So no first blood yet from either side.
No, just slow and pathetic harass going out between both supports. Both are low, and both are trying to block the enemy camps.
Yeah.
So this is one of those scenarios where you have 2 lanes in the top lane. There's the support lane, which Keta Omi is winning because he got the bounty rune. And then the core lane, which is the normal one.
And the fact that Saberlight has been essentially playing off lane this series. We talked about he's playing position 1, kind of, but now he's been off lane. It's kind of interesting. They have that flexibility as the Cogs with the battery assault setting up the Soul Assumption, but Seb trying to position himself on the other side of Fishman to try to slow him down so that Amar can hit him a couple more times, but looks like that's going to be broken up as well.
Okay, Seb heals. Yeah, Toby's got a lot of wand charges to work with down here, so a couple of Soul Assumptions. Fishman?
Fishman is fine, cogging off that. And OG with a 1k lead, but that is likely just the Alchemist effect. He has Concoction. It will be applied to himself as Saberlight looking for the Courier. He's going to get it in one fell swoop. That's the Chainmail. So no delivery this time for Yuragi. Wasn't going to be a full phase boots as he's going to get chased under the tower. Saberlight trying to bait some TPs, but obviously doesn't have any more ammunition. So
Neither does Yuragi, though. There's no regen on either of these two supports. Taiga's not even sending it out. He's sending out a smoke. So, and in his stash, he has a Tango. I think his Courier is going back. Because, yeah, this is a very awkward lane state for OG. They're not going to be farming this for the next few minutes.
Taiga with another dive. Ended up netting himself the creep there. As Yuragi, yeah, he's got some nice stacks. Mud Golems are one of Alchemist's favorites to see.
The one hero in the game that likes getting Mud Golems.
Well, I would say Chen, especially based on Game 1's performance from Fishman.
know.
They were quite good.
Let's, Fishman makes every creep look good, all right?
Every creep?
Yeah.
I don't know, the baby centaur looked pretty pathetic.
Kobold, too. The Kobold always looks pathetic.
That's true.
Nice Chalice idiot.
But he does die with the Chalice held up high, so you have to have respect for my boy. As Kataomi with the Arctic Burn, he's going to get Waning Rifted, but obviously with the Terrain Walk and BZM finds a Courier. Now that he has that haste, he feels very comfortable just doing whatever the hell he wants.
It's just Couriers dying this game. There are no hero deaths so far and a 1k gold lead for OG.
Yep. Kataomi puts that healing salve to an end as Taiga getting pursued by Saberlight, but again, dive is up. They have a lot of getaway from both sides, apparently. But
Yuragi's level 6 now.
He's going to be happy with this farm. It's going to be a straight Radiance right after these phase boots, so see how fast he can get it. I would say the 12-13 minute mark is what you usually try to go for, or try to hit, in terms of your goals from an Alchemist perspective. Fishman. There's the Mud Golem, this time from Seb, so a little bit of retribution for Game 1. But Fishman will survive, as the hits are quite pathetic, as you brought up earlier.
Yeah. Now Seb is just jungling, which we've seen from a lot of these creep-type heroes. Oh,
now Kataomi forced to take that regen, but yeah, BZM already expending the Illusory Orb, gets off the phase shift and the Fairy Fire, and that's going to be enough to survive. I thought for sure he was going to go down, and still no first blood. Oh, the rocket flare, too.
Oh, that would have been so funny.
Just off.
Yeah, because he did tip as well. He tipped.
He tipped ahead of time.
Yeah, he tipped ahead of time.
Oh, boy.
So that could have been very bad. But no, I think Entity were a little afraid of TPs coming in there. Because otherwise, surely they clicked him and saw the Fairy Fire. Maybe they didn't. Maybe that was just not one of those situations.
Yep, Stormstormer did get a lot of damage onto that Tier 1 mid. So despite this slow pace, he's farming exceptionally well right now. Tops in the CS department.
Yep, he's the biggest of boys right now.
Well, it is TA, that's a woman, so not so much. Biggest of ladies, I guess. With all that, I'm sure we could get some great lore after this game from Slacks.
Where are you going with this?
Just gonna pretend I didn't say anything. We'll just continue on with the cast. There's a TP out from Seb. And again, no kill, but Crush, Amar forcing a TP. Fishman. It's a level 4 Clockwork, so he's not really going to do much. And BZM gets a Waning Rift to get to that low ground. This could be first blood. Trap is there. Illusory Orb. The Stormstormer trying to pursue. And even the Rocket Flare missing again. But look at this. It's scouting out Yuragi, who is getting nice, big, and juicy here. Kataomi gets off a pretty good Splinter's Blast, taking a couple creeps for himself and leeching some of the XP, but Saberlight is the one that draws first blood, so Taiga ends up dropping. I thought that was not going to happen considering the consistent Icarus diving he's been having there. Kataomi going to be ignored by Yuragi, who is trying to stack.
He's trying to stack right in front of the support. That's so funny.
Oh, BZM. Kind of in a terrible spot here. A
the
nice
side
job
blades.
from Stormstormer, getting that nice angle on the creep, so that's going to be the first death for BZM, and Entity off to a 2-0 lead.
And Amar takes the rune. He actually heads mid and does some rune control as an off-lane Slardar.
Okay. That's a good boy.
Yeah, he doesn't want to lane against a Visage at level 6, which I think makes sense. I feel like even a Slardar with the laning prowess that he has, maybe this is one of the few heroes that, yeah, sure you can kill a Visage, but I don't know if you can lane against him. That sounds rough.
And Stormstormer out farming an Alchemist. Obviously, he hasn't really truly gotten online, but that's still pretty impressive, considering that the free farm has essentially been there for majority of this game for Yuragi.
And
a lot of stacks as well.
Okay, he goes for the blink. I was wondering what he was going to go for. He had queued up the Deso and the blink. The blink means he can actually have a fast timing and play with his team and contest the Alchemist in his own jungle, and I think that's definitely the play. As Yuragi getting harassed a bit, but nah, he's fine.
Yeah, Saberlight was thinking about popping the Dark Ascension, but not this time, as Seb getting slowed to a crawl, and Stormstormer with one Meld Strike brings that Bambi to an end.
Should be the tower, though. Catapult's still there.
Catapult's still hitting it, but they should be able to get the deny at the very least. But either way, OG happy to have that tower out of the way.
Both sides have good Roche heroes, so I feel like getting the mid tower is incredibly important. Although, with that being said, that's going to go both ways. Stormstormer almost got the mid tower as well. It's 50% HP, so it's not like it's, you know,
it's
the
only
worst
a matter
situation.
of time.
Yep.
And Saberlight, how long are we till this next nighttime? Looks like another 3.5 minutes. He hasn't really been too active this time, but does have one kill. And based on the last game, this is an enormous improvement. Obviously, he was dying a lot as he's going to pop that ult in that top lane with the Crippling Fear, but just a simple TP away since the Void has already been expended. That's the one stun that he has at his disposal. But we'll just auto-attack these creeps and at least get some damage on the tier 1. We'll see if OG want to try to defend, because this is a lot of damage coming from Saberlight in that ult form.
I think without Taiga sitting in the tower and holding it, this is a little awkward of a defense, which is probably why he pressed the ult to go in there. Like, obviously if you can kill Taiga there, it's fantastic.
Hook shot, Fishman's level 6 now. Cogs back into the arms of Stormstormer, but Seb, he also has his ult, so the right clicks won't come too quickly, as he is truly untouchable.
Level 1 heal, and he's still this tanky. He's actually got level 2 pointed impetus. So he's playing the 4 Enchantress this game, really.
Yeah, going the Dragonlance, so it's going to hurt quite a bit with the impetus. Saberlight back in the jungle, so relatively slow pace from everybody. I mean, typically with, I guess this next nighttime, I would assume is when Night Stalker really wants to try to get something going other than the farm. I mean, we also did see, I think it was him as well playing it, the Aghanim Scepter, just to help him farm even more. I'm not sure if we're going to see it this time around, but it looks like he has the Shard queued up.
Yeah, I don't know about I mean, I feel like in that game where he got the Ags, he was more in like the farming role, whereas he's got a TA this time, so TA is going to be like consuming all the creeps on the map. It's always a bit awkward to be Night Stalker versus Phoenix, because you know, if you're just going around like purely nighttime, well then Phoenix can change that in an instant, right? So I think other people should be played around, other items.
Oh, Fishman looking for an opening, but you can see that Amar is here as well to accompany Seb. Actually pops the sprint. We're going to see the coil with the egg being placed. It's going to be broken. Stormstormer just trying to limp away. The right clicks are doing quite a bit of damage. He's going to get dove on, but looks like he will survive. As now Fishman, with that Corrosive Haze, will likely be brought to an end, although he dodges out the crush, but it's not going to matter. It's going to be a 2-for-0 as the Visage and Clock die on the side of Entity. Kataomi does have ult, though. Winter's Curse available. Not really finding a good opening here, as Armlet now finished for Amar.
Yeah, Saberlight has no ult. Well, now he does, but he did not have ult. It was not nighttime, so he's completely useless. There's just no way to fight that for Entity, especially if Toby goes down, because I feel like Toby is the strong hero right now. Obviously, Stormstormer is the most farmed on the team, but Toby's like the hero that really wants to fight right now. He's got a Vlad's, only 2 points in Gravekeeper, so he did go down in that fight, but he wants to fight. He wants to run around, take towers, which is exactly what they're going to do.
And now the push onto the tier 1, the fortifications there, but OG might have to give this up, considering the amount of the Radiance online, so around the 15-minute mark. Not too shabby from OG. So both tier 1s down, and there's no way they're going for Roche, is there? Are they actually? Okay.
Yeah.
I have the double meld available if they really want to go for it, and this is going to be a nice Roche attempt. You can see OG on the other side of the map. They're going to take out the tier 1 tower. I'm not sure if they even know this is happening. They just scanned, so now they do, but it's too late. So this is a really nice pickoff for Entity. You're talking about both lineups can take Roche, so
yeah,
taking full advantage of just being in the right time or right area at the time.
Pretty important, because we saw the Puck Coil and Phoenix Egg combo onto Stormstormer the previous fight. It was enough to not kill him, but at least take him out of the fight. As BZM, he's got to be careful, dude. That's a Night Stalker.
Yep. And obviously, Crippling Fear. We've seen it so many times against Puck this tournament. A lot of times you get the Force Staff on Puck to try to counteract it, which he's actually opting for a Ghost Scepter.
Similar idea,
okay.
just to survive during the duration of it. And also, you know, TA Visage, these heroes are primarily physical damage. So I do like this. I think it can build into an eventual Ethereal Blade. So this is kind of the greedier option, because I don't think BZM's game is bad. Like, he's got an Alex, so he's not farming, and then his offlaner's Amar, so he's not farming. But his game's not bad. He's 1-1 and has tons of XP.
This does feel like a game you could go for an Orchid on somebody from Entity's side to try to punish this a bit, as you won't be able to get a whole lot off for Puck, because you don't want to go for like a Yule's on top of all of this. As Saberlight again being TP'd out in front of. We've seen Orchid from Visage from time to time, but
it happens, yeah. Even Clockwork sometimes gets Orchid, but he's a pathetic 5 position, so
yep, it happens.
Literally no way he's going to get farmed for that.
And it is natural nighttime for Saberlight. See if he wants to pick up the pace a bit. I'm used to seeing, I mean, he does have the Shard now, so can eat the, well, if he wants to eat an Enchantress Creep, he can. Zuragi kind of getting forced out of the jungle, but he got most of that farm, so he's going to be perfectly happy as he is working on the BKB. Taiga, no dive, thanks to the Crippling Fear and Saberlight. It's pretty damn good ability against both Puck and Phoenix to have these getaways, and they don't want to build items to try to counteract.
No, they don't. They don't. Now it's a good time to, like, anytime a Phoenix is dead, I think Saberlight is really happy to fight, obviously because the nighttime, the daytime factor. Oh, mid.
Yep, Coil, but there's the old pop by the Night Stalker. Trying to get that silence off. Instant Ghost Scepter from BZM, but there's the curse onto Alchemist just to try to delay things. You can see Amar keeping everybody at bay here, taking some right clicks from Stormer. A couple more will do it. He's going to armlet toggle and survive, though, as Yuragi with the BKB focusing on Kataomi. Going to get these 2 supports relatively easy along with the Night Stalker, so 3 for nothing as OG looks to take this fight in spades. That's the Aegis down as well.
He's dead twice.
Absolutely. Toby's here, though, with his familiars. But if he's not careful, everybody's going to go down on the side of the Entity. That's going to be the 4th down. Toby left to his own devices and will likely get chased down. All this impetus damage is a double kill from BZM. And OG lose absolutely nothing, and that is against an Aegis.
Ghost Scepter really paid off in that fight for BZM, and also the fact that Amar went for Armlet instead of going for the Mask of Madness build. Stormer couldn't kill him. I think he okay, well.
Yeah, Taiga's dead, so
get a freebie.
Get some revenge here, but still, just the supports going down in these like in-between fights, if you want to call it that. But Amar, his armlet toggling definitely working out that time.
And also just the armor from the armlet is enough to, like, look how tanky he looks to Stormer when he tries to turn around and take this fight. They have to back off of BZM.
Yeah.
BZM's also not right-clicking Yuragi because of the Ghost Scepter. Amar's in the side and getting focused. The only thing that goes down is the Courier.
Oh, I didn't even notice that before. That was an extra right-click that could have been applied to Amar, but it was the Courier, and so I'm not sure if that was a misclick, but
no, it got side-bladed.
Oh, okay.
Which apparently can happen.
Oh yeah, we've seen that before.
As the exact same shot of Seb.
That's just a replay from game number 2.
Getting tricked by that one. That was... I've seen
Cogs
that before.
from Fishman. He's just going to get jumped on by Yuragi, who now has that Blink Dagger, so... Oh, geez, starting to run away with this a bit. Obviously, a 7K lead looks like a lot, but it is an Alchemist, of course. So, production, of course, is telling us that Seb does smile a lot. That's the first time I've had production tell me that. That was actually awesome.
Yeah. I didn't even know they could talk to us.
7K lead for OG, though, as a Blink Dagger now on BZM. And if Entity is not careful, OG can really open this up with another one fight. And I feel like that's going to be quite difficult for Entity to get back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like it's passing the point where TA can have this like monstrous snowball to deal with an alchemist, especially if you're going to go down.
Stormers all alone, and the corrosive haze means that there's no shenanigans coming out of that meld.
Oh, and Amar
Big
steals the
pick
kill.
off for OG as Yuragi just picking them apart all over the map. And then the crippling fear, but he's going to break the coil and just die to the illusory orb. And a little bit late on the Winter's Curse, and this is another punish from OG. 3 dead, and barely any damage done to OG's side. Concoction coming for Fishman. It'll be on.
Does he get the bounty? He gets the bounty too?
He does.
Okay, all right, Fishman.
Fishman.
We see you.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
that's my boy right there.
Yeah, that was. I mean, they're still losing.
Yes, that is the that's the brown lining of that.
Right, right. The whole skid mark of Dota. I see.
The win probability is at 87%. And yeah, OG. It's not over yet, obviously, but if they do win, it'll be a face-off against PSG LGD, which is going to be a pretty damn hype matchup. Despite PSG LGD just crushing everyone not named Sonics.
Previous major winners, though, so you can't, Momentum. Momentum. That's the name of the game for OG. And in this game, they also do have quite the momentum. It is looking rough for Entity to take any fight.
Yeah.
I think there's good counters to TA, who might be
Amar.
might be
They have
shot
vision.
here.
Looking for the opening. There's the coil. Blink by Amar into the bash, but the counter hook shot comes in. But look at this damage. Concoction onto 2 heroes. And again, OG getting away with murder with no reciprocation whatsoever from Entity's side. 5-13. Again, that doesn't really tell any of the story. Because ever since that fight with the Aegis, when Entity had the Aegis, I think they've killed 1 support and lost like 10 heroes.
Yeah, what does that say about the draft, I guess, that can happen?
Are you I'm just asking me?
Yeah, what do you think there, Shanna?
Well, I think maybe OG figured out Entity a bit. They forced Saberlight into the off lane every single time, which...
doesn't answer my question.
Yeah, I'm just trying to BS here, Jenkins. I'm not the analyst, thank you. OG's good. There's my answer.
Yeah, player MVP. Oh, there we go. That's good.
Oh my goodness, all right. He was 4-10 MVP apparently in that game number 2.
That's a bit mean. He's gonna go kick Production's ass.
Entity, they're smoked up. They absolutely need to win this fight.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to force it out here. There's Amar. He's going to break it. Saberlight with the initiation. Crippling Fear, but going to try to take down the Phoenix to start. He has a Ghost Scepter himself. Just the itemization coming out from OG has been masterful. And there's the Winter's Curse turning into a kill onto BZM.
Double kill, okay.
So a nice pick off here for Entity. As they're going to try to continue on now. Focus is on Yuragi as that BKB, though, with the concoction to follow. Fishman getting saved on the outskirts of this fight. And Yuragi, he has to be careful. The BKB is now ending. They don't have enough damage to finish him off quite yet because Amar's the one that jumps in. He's going to get decimated. So a 3 for 2 as the Visage is fallen. And that's the buyback from the Phoenix on OG's side. So really good fight from Entity, and they need a few more of those to get back in this game.
Kata Ome. I mean, this guy is so good at Winter Wyvern. It's insane. Like, this is not an easy game. The curse on a puck, that's the perfect target. He's hitting the saves as well. Yeah, I mean, another Wraith Band in his inventory, of course.
That's what you need.
It's a classic build. Also, in that fight, Yuragi did not have Chemical Rage. So, at the start, he used the BKB, and then the Chemical Rage comes up after, but it wasn't at the same time. So it's a bit awkward, so we can't really man fight versus Stormstormer without that ability. It's... Yeah, OG. They need to have their spells ready. They need to have good positioning. Like Entity is not gonna roll over in this game.
Yeah, no,
especially
no
with this
doubt.
Wyvern.
I mean, this is for the upper bracket to continue, right? Like if you lose this game for either side, you still have another life.
You lose your heart, though.
Yeah, I mean that'll be a kick for sure because
who's getting kicked?
A kick in the balls is what I meant more than anything. And Amar has really big ones from what I've heard. Based on how he's played, I think I do believe it. The rumor is probably true. OG with the 4-man smoke now. And likely to go into the Entity Triangle. That's Stormer. And we now have AC online for Yuragi. And the smoke is going to break. Stormer TPing out. We'll be fine. They get the ward up a little late. And they think for sure he's here, but we can see obviously that he is long gone. Good attempt from OG. And next Rosh is going to be up in 40 seconds. And like you said, they can take it extremely fast thanks to the Slardar. So really the question is, do they even need a pickoff? Like, how good is the pit fight from Entity? You have the Curse, you have the hookshot initiation. Not too shabby.
I don't think they need a pickoff, because I feel like if Entity leaves the base, I mean, they've got to get some insane jump in order to win the fight.
Yeah.
And they're trying, but I don't know how much they can hold this area. Just the birds. They don't have a ward on the high ground.
Yep, Roche coming back very shortly.
Neither team has a ward on the high ground.
Entity do have vision there thanks to the traps. There's a concoction coming off, but he can't use it on Toby because he's Stone. And that doesn't work against Stone, apparently. Fishman gets off the cogs, and there's a jump in from Stormer. Trying to take out Amar. He's already at half HP as the buyback onto the Wyvern already comes to fruition. But look at the damage coming from Seb with these impetuses on the side. Double kill for him. He's just cleaning through everybody. And now BZM with a double kill for himself as well, as 4 are dead. That's a dieback onto the Wyvern. And OG only lose 1, and it's Amar. And Seb pretty much out of mana, but the concoction is coming as Toby will go down again. Triple kill, and that is looking real bad. That's 2 diebacks from Entity, and now Roche should be a clean one for OG.
Radiant's top tower is under
Seb
attack.
almost has more net worth than the enemy carry Night Stalker, and he does have more net worth than Amar, who we've talked about. Very greedy boy. But yet Seb is more farmed, obviously getting a triple kill in that fight.
Look at the build on Amar. This is not a typical one at all. Looks like Saberlight's fine, but I mean he went for,
not typical for him.
Yeah, for him. This is a normal-ish build. Maybe the armlet not all the time, but you're gonna see a replay here. But maybe it has something to do with Seb being in the comms. Like, nah, maybe don't go for that Mask of Madness this time, young lad.
So it worked out. This almost was a really good setup by Entity, but Yuragi just barely not getting chain stun, so he gets his BKB and his ult off.
Yeah. Oh, the hook shot from Fishman to try to counteract. He's gonna. Oh, the snatch is actually from Yuragi, so technically Entity gets the Roche kill. Doesn't matter that much, although we'll see who got the shard. Let's see if we can find that shard there.
Smiley face. Amar gave him the old European smiley.
Yeah, the one with
where you do it's just parentheses.
Right, of course.
It's a classic. It's a passive aggressive one.
It was a good attempt, but ends up not resulting in too much. I'm actually not sure who got the shard, but TA has a shard now.
Taiga got it.
He didn't have one before? Usually you buy one.
Well, he picked it up. I don't know who he gave it to.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yep, Yuragi looking to try and finish this game with the Aegis advantage now on the side of OG and a 20k lead. Okay, gets a nice curse off, looking for the Phoenix kill. But the taunt, okay. Taiga will live. Ghost Scepter actually lets him separate from the pack. Now the rest of OG to just be taking this out. That was a nice E-Blade. That's what I missed there, is BZM keeping his teammate alive.
I think that's why he got the Ghost Scepter, so he could eventually build into something that's...
Okay, counteracts the curse.
Yeah, that saves his team. As Yuragi BKBs.
Yep. That is a questionable choice for sure. But one set of racks in favor of OG now.
Was that a BM BKB?
It might be. It's very possible. He's going to take a Melt Strike. Yuragi getting quite low. Arctic Burn to follow, but there. Getting healed up a bit, but the instant silence from Saberlight, who jumps in with a crippling fear, has the nullifier as well, it looks like. So down goes the Phoenix, along with the Aegis. And nice attempted save at Saberlight. He's going to take so much damage from Seb once he's able to actually click on him. Stormer with the BKB, trying to take out the Alchemist. He's going to get him.
Dead.
BKB. Along with that Cold Embrace, as we have a buyback on the Alchemist, so it looks like OG want to try to finish this as Stormer will be dead with no buyback. So 3 done. And Seb is, I wonder how much damage he has done this game with these impetuses, because they are absolutely shredding Entity. Toby in the stone form, but it's going to get saved by Kataomi as well, but you can see Impetus with the Waning Rift. They can just burst right through it. So OG look like they're going to go on to face PSG LGD in this second series.
That's it.
In the playoffs. GGs are called. Nicely played from OG.
Curious to see the damage numbers in this game. I feel like as the game does indeed get paused here.
Yep, that's typical.
Yeah. Yeah, Seb. I mean, they just like Taiga and Seb just swapped positions that game. That was not a pause 5 Enchantress. That was a 4 Enchantress. Hell, maybe even a 3 Enchantress. Maybe Amar was the 4 that game.
That's true. It felt like he was playing more of a normal Slardar role.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, when it got later, Seb was just doing a lot of damage, but really the story was, I mean, it started out Saberlight having a good start, like just farming. He wasn't really trying to find kills, but OG just, after that one fight in that mid lane when Entity had the Aegis advantage, it just fell apart completely.
It did. Entity had the Aegis.
Yeah,
And then
they
OG
took a full fight
wipes them.
without losing anybody.
Yeah, and it was all from the Goat Scepter.
The Goat Scepter.
The Goat Scepter,
Yeah.
if you will, and the armlet on Amar.
See the handshakes coming through. Obviously, Entity will be going to the lower bracket, so still alive